and we exhale. So I like for us really this morning to work our brain and our heart, because I think, especially with my topic injustice, I have to have a clear mind, clear brain, and also to keep my heart open, because I could go into judgment, a lot of judgment right now. Yeah. So I want us to just move our arms. You bring both arms up. Left palm is facing down, right is facing up. That's for the brain. Left is down, right is up. The next movement, we bring our hands in front of our heart center. Left palm is facing up, right is facing down. So just do this movement and observe that the hands are really in the right. Good. Close your eyes and continue doing that. Just for a little bit. Good. And then we stay here. We bring our arms out to the side. And we just, left palm is going down, right is up. And you just move through your arms, through your shoulders. And that's where we keep a lot of little deposits. And then from here, we bring our arms up. And then come here, crossing over, bringing our palms up. And then you have the tip of your thumb touch the tip of your ring finger. So with arms up, left palm down, right up. Left palm up, right down. Arms out to the side, rotating. And then from here, bring the arms up, cross. And this is very simple. Now, everything is very simple from here on. So you can, when we do the music and everything, you can just follow. This is the only thing that's a little complicated. And then you just keep your eyes open and you follow me and you feel how you, through the movement of your arms and your fingers, you open really your chest region. Okay, I will turn on the music. You can chant with it if you like. Let me see. And you can just listen to it. There is something so off. I don't know. Nothing works in my transmission. Okay, we have to do it without. So also, Nirmala, then prepare that you later on play our chant. Yeah. So then we do it this way. We go like Ra, Ma, Da, Sa, Sa, Se, So, Hang, Ra, Ma, Da, Sa, Sa, Se, So, Hang, Ra, Ma, Da, Sa, Sa, Se, So, Hang. Right hand, Ra, Ma, Da, Sa, Sa, Se, So, Hang. Ra, Ma, Da, Sa, Sa, Se, So, Hang. Right hand, Ra, Ma, Da, Sa, Sa, Se, So, Hang. Arms forward again. Ra, Ma, Da, Sa, Sa, Se, So, Hang. Ra, Ma, Da, Sa, Sa, Se, So, Hang. Ra, ma, da, sa, sa, se, so, hum. 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 And ra, ma, da, sa, sa, se, so, hum. 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 And place your hands onto your heart center. Take 3 deep breaths. Feel into your shoulders, into your arms. We activated the meridians in our arms, especially the heart meridian going into our pinky. Good, and then we open our eyes, we bring our arms forward, palms facing up. You bring your arms back, that's your inhale, and then you turn your palms down, exhale, head in between your arms. Stretch the back door of your heart. Inhale and come back up. Exhale and round fully. Stretch all the way through your fingertips. Ensure that your head is in between your upper arms. So open the front door and the back door. Ensure your palms facing down when the palms are forward. Bring the palms up when you're arching. Good, last 3. With all the words that we mentioned and wrote into our chat, most likely our heart center is contracting, creating an armor. So it's crucial that we keep staying open. So inhale, arms out to the side, fingertips onto your shoulders, fingers in front, thumb into the back. Now I want you to bring your elbows down, lift your chin, chest, look up to the ceiling, feel the arch in your heart center. Now bring your elbows above your ears and round forward so the elbows touch in front. I inhale, my elbows go above my ears. Bring your elbows back and down, arch your spine. Exhale, round forward. Create a lot of flexibility in your upper spine. And exhale. And look into yourself and see, is there an armor that I created, a wall to protect myself? But the wall that we create to protect ourselves also separates ourselves from others and our feelings. So especially the heart center needs to stay open. In times of tremendous change, it's so easy to close down. So take this movement as a metaphor. There's contraction and there's expansion. But we are not staying in either. Yeah, you don't want to be always open. That would be also not responsible. So these are very simple movements to get the heart center open up. Last 3 here. Now you keep your elbows back, lift your chin, interlace your fingers, bring your arms up as high as possible. Exhale and fold, bring your head between your knees or close to. Inhale up, arch, exhale forward. So you keep your arms the entire time away from your body. Now we're bringing a lot of oxygenated blood to our brain. Working the front and the back meridian, the controllers. They are really controllers. And that's their duty. To control the others. They manage the other meridians. So our sensory system can be intact. The last 3. Inhale up. Bring your arms, last movement, bring your arms forward, palms face each other, exhale. And then inhale, bend at your wrist as much as you can, bring your arms back. Lift your chin, chest, feel the stretch and the arch in your heart center. And then close your eyes for a moment and breathe consciously in to your heart and out of your heart. So you let in and you let out. You receive and you give. Just for 1 minute. See that you keep your arms nicely parallel, activating the heart meridian that ends up in your pinky. And going through from your armpit through your arms, working the heart protector right now. Just a little bit more deep breath. Bring the arms a little further back just for the last 20 seconds. Then inhale deeply. And then gently bring your hands back onto your knees or thighs. Feel into your chest. So everything we did this morning, these gentle movements, arms overhead, just moving our arms up and down towards the heart, all of that actually increases your heart health.
Thank you, Siddhi. I posted last week on our YouTube channel, Siddhi's, I just condensed only down to 1 video down to her chair exercises. But now I want you to add all these arm things into your chair exercise do a version 2, because these are such simple movements, but they're so profound in our system. I know you each feel that, and that conscious stretching to open so we can receive and so that we can then give is so important in this day and age. Of course, every generation says that their generation was more difficult, but we have some challenges. So, okay, today, So we asked, I asked as our check-in, what was one thing you believe if changed in your life would increase your equanimity? And we got some fabulous answers. And the one I'm going to speak to today, which was one of the answers, is accepting others as they are. Because tied into that idea of acceptance are all these other things, controlling because we don't like something and wishing that things would be different and feeling the injustice of the world. We want something to be changed. And our efforts, our energy to change people can overcome our energy to accept them. So we are more interested in changing them, and even to the point that perhaps the reason we want to change them gets lost. We just want it to change. And one of the things I love about Buddhism that I didn't know for years was that Buddhism has a very active activist lineage to it, that it isn't about just accepting things as they are and walking off and saying, well, that's the way it is. We still have a responsibility as part of the whole to actually affect change. But affecting change is more easily done when we accept that others are a certain way and we look to recreate a new reality rather than simply saying, I'm going to change their mind. Because most people, when we try to use pressure to change their mind, that is a temporary change, if any. So we're all doing this spiritual work. We're here, we're working on ourselves, and we come up against these situations every day that create a certain discomfort in ourselves because of someone's behavior or attitude. And we give attention to this, and it creates anger, impatience, frustration, or fear within us that then is how we experience that moment. And as we do our spiritual efforting in our life, we would like for all of our moments to be in equanimity and in heightened states, even if we are not in agreement with what's going on. We can come to a disagreement in a heightened, unpleasant way, or we can come to it in a more measured way. And I think as women, it's really part of our DNA to want to create nice situations, to want people to be happy. We are always looking, and what tends to happen is we suppress what it is we really want in that moment until it builds up, and then we go forth and bubble with a huge eruption. And really the goal is for us, and the aim is for us to be able to take our external circumstances and our internal world and keep them separate so that we can come from a place, our own place of equanimity, and in a more patient and a more profitable way to offer into the world. So this may, for some of us, experience this only as single occurrences. Say, you go somewhere and the waiter is really not doing a good job, or you go into the grocery store and you're really impatient and the checker's having a difficult time, and you realize how judgmental you are in that moment, and you're all rough, you need to get on somewhere else. And this is not part of your plan. This was not, you didn't have this plan for an extra 10 minutes to help somebody along the way. This is also part of us putting too many things into our day, not having enough spaciousness. But we want, so this is a single occurrence, but it also may be, I think it was Penny who mentioned that there are just two people in her life who she has ongoing challenges with, of holding that equanimity when she's in relationship with them. So it may be a person, and usually it's somebody in, you talk about our inner circle. So we have an inner circle of friends and family, and then we have concentric circles that go out from that of people we're a little less attached to, but nonetheless are keeping track of and interacting with and wish to have in our lives. The farther out the circle goes, the less triggered we are, unless, the caveat, of course, is Siddhi's contribution of injustice. That's, of course, a broad term. That's not an individual relationship. That's a communal, that's a cooperative, that's something that has to be looked at differently. But individually, usually the ones that are closest to us trigger us the most because we have an entanglement with them. We have an expectation, another one of our words. We have this sense that we should be able to control how we are in relationship with the ones closest to us. And so when that's not happening, we get most disturbed. And so the idea is, how do we take this, what we'll call detachment, which isn't a meaning that we don't care. It means that we haven't tethered our internal experience to the external experience. We've detached from that cording. And so we're not entangled. We may be intertwined. That's a whole different thing. Being intertwined with someone means that you're building some sort of a relationship and you have support with one another. So you are actually helping. It's like looking at a beautiful vine that intertwines with another vine, and they're growing up and they're more stable together than less stable. But when you're entangled, it's a knot. It's a knot, and we feel that knot physically, somatically, we feel it, as well as how we express into the world with either impatience or anger or frustration. So we all have tried various strategies to change others' attitudes, habits, and behaviors, and usually it's of those closest to us. So we see some sort of behavior that we think is detrimental or inappropriate, and we want to change it. We want to make it so it's more palatable to us. What if we are able to manage ourselves such that the external circumstance doesn't actually have an impact on how we are internally? We may still want to contribute to a change. And this is specifically related to children and family members. We have a responsibility to guide, particularly to our children. But we know from just observation of children that not everyone is the same. Their temperament, the way that they operate in the world. So for instance, a child who is more slow in their movement, maybe what you would consider lethargic, and which might annoy you because they're behaving lethargically and you want them to be pepped up and energetic. It's simply their demeanor. And because our demeanor doesn't match that, we find that really difficult. And we'd like to, we think of all ways. Can we feed them better food? Can we get them more sleep? Can we, we're looking at ways to make them something else rather than simply stepping back and observing where their movement is. So when we decide we want to change someone, we create an energetic push-pull. There's something happening, even unspoken, even if we don't speak to it, we're energetically entering into their space and trying to push them where we want them to go. And that is no more helpful than us verbally repeating the same thing over and over and over. How many times have we as parents or as siblings or as part of a family system said the same thing again and again and again and again? And it seems as though no one's actually listening to us. So the bottom line is, what do we need in order for us to actually just accept people as they are, knowing that we can affect more change in the way we behave and what we present into the world? When people see a change or an efforting that you have to be open to and willing to be a bit more pliable, they soften. And you have a much better chance of entering into their world than you do when you're hard. This was Siddhi's, explanation of the heart. When we keep our heart space open, people don't feel threatened and they're more likely to listen. And that can affect change. So what we want to do is that we want to be able to watch those that we love and be able to mirror to them behaviors that are appropriate and that are more soothing to us, and see if they pick up on it. They might not. Some people are very receptive and some are very stuck in what they're doing, but we cannot actually change their behavior simply because we want to. And if we don't change someone's behavior and it becomes a habit, it's habitual for us to have a response. I know that we all have the experience of going into a relationship with someone that we know and love, and we already expect them to behave a certain way because it's been their tendency. And we already know it annoys us, and we're just waiting for them to actually do it. so that we can validate that, yes, they do that all the time. We don't actually give situations the room to breathe because we're already one step ahead of it. We've already decided it's going to have a certain outcome. This is expectations that Sheila wrote as her word. When we have an expectation for someone or something to behave or respond in a certain way, we've already closed the door to it being something else. So it's incumbent upon us as women working on having a peaceful environment in ourselves, in our close circles, and in the world. We have to offer that back in. Closing your heart down and expecting the worst of something is not actually suiting this movement that we're looking for. So this energetic push-pull is something we have to be really cognizant of, really pay attention to how you have already projected into a situation, how annoying something's going to be, whether it's a person, place, or thing, whatever it is. Because we want equanimity to be our default state. This is the state we want to be in all the time. That's not to say that the world isn't disruptive out there and that we don't have, as in activism in the Buddhist tradition, that we don't have a place to insert our efforts for activism. So when I listened to Jill on these interviews she had this week on disentangling patriarchy, I saw that these women who were one was working in sex trafficking, one was working in women's rights. It was across the board. They were soft and they were articulate and they were present and they were producing these cases for why change is needed and how it affects the whole of community, not just for women. It affects everything. And the way they said it didn't set you on edge as a defensive mechanism to them. This is our superpower, is that as women, we can go in softly and carry a big stick. We don't have to actually hit anyone with it. We can just go in softly because we don't want to shift the energetics of a situation before we even have a chance to be part of the solution. So I'm not saying that we can let people be as they are when it's an unhealthy situation. If there's abuse or narcissism or some very unhealthy behavior, it has to be dealt with. But I will say that most of us on this call are probably speaking to more subtle or smaller ways in which we're triggered. If you're being triggered in an abusive situation, you simply have to remove yourself from it. You have to call upon the support of all of your sisters and you have to remove yourself. It may be temporary, it may be permanent. That's a whole different game that I'm speaking to. I'm just talking about our daily life as we move through our day and we find ourselves in different places throughout the day. How is it that we keep ourselves in that? We don't become worrisome, as Becca mentioned. We don't have some other reaction to an external circumstance. We're able to step back from it and see where are we called into action in this? What is our piece to help either diffuse it or to solve something? But it's not in reaction. It's never in reaction. So let us practice taking the detachment we find from things we're further away from and apply them to all things in our life so that we can be intertwined, but not entangled. So what I would like for us to do this week is I would like for us to choose one person in your life. Or you could choose one situation, but probably easier to choose a person. And take this week to create space between yourself and them energetically so that when you feel that even on a phone call, you're speaking to, a sibling or a child or something, and you can already feel that angst coming up, that we take the space to do some of the practices that City has given us, but just to center ourselves and to energetically create a space so that we aren't triggered by it. We're actually able to contribute to maybe shifting it or not, just accepting it. So the affirmation for this week is, I can choose to not be triggered by those around me. I'm going to put it in the chat section because this is a choice. This isn't anything outside of our capacity. This is our choice. And we can even substitute those around me to situations around me. We will be better advocates and better change makers if we go in a state of equilibrium and a state of equanimity rather than in a state of heightened response. So let's try it this week, ladies. Choose something. We need to see how our efforts actually make change in ourselves so that we then feel more committed to staying on a path of refining ourselves as part of our spiritual journey. It's all a refining. And the result of it is that we are in a very nice state of peacefulness. So in that nice state of peacefulness, we're going to chant now. And I will put the words on the chat section for anyone